Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is Michael Ashwell at Borden Hammond, and I've got on the phone with us Jim Grawl, who is National Account Vice President, or some title very similar to that, at Legal and General America, and he's been a friend of ours for a long time. So, Jim, thank you for being on with us. Jim, can you hear me? Can I hear you?
Can. I can. Thank you
All
for
right.
having us on today.
All right, very good. So, guys, what we're going to do, this is a new digital end-to-end platform that Banner has rolled out, and um, what we appreciate that Banner did is they actually weren't going to roll this out for about another 4 to 5 months from now. They were going to still doing a lot of testing on it and piloting and things like that to make sure that everything was going to go really really smoothly. But due to the pandemic, they went ahead and moved it up so that we can have this tool available to us a lot earlier. As a result, there are a few bugs. There's still some things they're trying to figure out, so please do be patient with us and with them as we're trying to do it. But it's a very cool program. It's a very cool system, and we are excited about it. So, Jim, I'm going to turn it over to you, and what he's going to do is go through the kind of an overview of the program and how it works, and then also show you some of the stuff that's happening behind the curtain that your clients will see. And then at the end, I'm going to actually just take back over controls. I'm going to go into our website, which is where you'll access the platform, and make sure that you kind of know where the front door is, so that when you're on the phone with the client, you can get in there and actually start this process. I'm not going to take any questions on here just because we are recording this. As all of you probably know, with any of our webinars, we record them and then we'll send them out to everybody that registers, for those that weren't able to actually sit on this live right now with us, and then also in the future, that way if you need to watch it again for a refresher. So I won't take any questions, but if you do have questions, you can call me directly, or you can call Tim or John or Ryan or anybody after that. So, all right, Jim, I'm going to turn it over to you. Kick us off. Thanks for being
All
here.
right. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So we appreciate the opportunity, or I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today about our new digital process. As Michael said, we pushed this out a little earlier than anticipated to, I hate to say, take advantage of the opportunity, but because of what's happening in the work from home remote world, we wanted to be able to get our tool out there so people could start taking applications in a little easier manner than what we may have been doing it previous to this. So as we go through this, keep in mind that things are changing almost daily to get it more in tune with what you're going to do. And I'll kind of talk about some of the points that are coming and what's here now. So, excuse me. It's been a challenging time, as we know. Challenging in our business as it is to get people to sit down and talk about life insurance. And now we throw in this whole other, how do we do it without seeing them? We feel like we've put together a fairly good tool to make your life a little easier as an agent, and to make your client's process of purchasing life insurance a lot easier as well. With the whole idea here is that we really want to get more people insured and do it as quickly and easily as possible. So, quick agenda. I'm going to run through the benefits of the new platform. How does that impact you? What's the process look like? So we'll kind of get into the application your client will see, and then we'll look at the back end. How do you know it worked? How do I track it? Some of those things. So this new process, what does it mean to you? And then what does it mean to your client? So for you, it's a better user experience. It's supposed to be easier and simpler than the old our process with the Apposys, where you either 6 or 8 questions, you drop the ticket, and it goes off, and we do the interview. Under the current model, that's how we work. Well, with this new model, it's supposed to be easier. You're going to do a little bit more of the app work up front, and then you're going to send it out to the client, and they're going to kind of complete it for you. This is going to allow for some instant decisioning and automated application management, meaning that things will be more processed more quickly and efficiently than they were in the past. For the customer, it's really more of a digital journey. We throw digital around, and it's on your phone, it's on your iPad. but it is truly going to be, and Michael said this to me earlier, it's really more of a paperless journey. We're trying to get everything done so that we're not tracking stuff down. And you're going to eventually get real-time status updates. It will reduce cycle time. We've already seen our cycle time drop a little bit just in the last 2.5 weeks. And it gets good order applications in. How many times have you not had an application, whether it's paper or App Assist, where we're coming back and asking for more information because we didn't get clarity or there was something skipped? Eventually, in the near future, you're going to see easy integrations with Pipeline. Now, we've already rolled out with Pipeline, but it's going to get smoother as they start to add more of their stuff to our stuff. Self-service stuff. Eventually, the client will be able to respond to requests for information immediately. There won't be a delay. It'll be go to their login, get in there, and give us that information. And typically, it's going to be doctor's information or beneficiary stuff, something they may want to change. Instant decisions. Now, I would love to tell you that every case that you submit to us is going to get an instant decision, and they're all going to be preferred plus and move out the door. That wouldn't be true, and you know it, and I know it. So what the process is designed to do is to take those clients that meet the parameters and get them instant decisions as quickly as possible. So yes, you can figure out it's going to be your younger, healthier clients where we don't have as much information on the backside. It is a real-time approval. So you're going to see when we go through this process, they have the opportunity to get an instant decision. You know, congratulations, you've won a new life insurance policy. Click here to accept it. That's what they're going to see, and it is happening. It's not happening on 62-year-olds maybe, but it is happening on 35-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 28-year-olds. Okay, coming soon as part of all this is the policy will be immediately available for delivery, and we're going to get better decision-making capabilities as we go through this. The whole application process is built on reflexive technology, reflexive questioning, and gathering more information. So it's artificial intelligence. And as the system gets smarter because it's learning about more conditions, we will see the automated instant decisions grow because the system will learn how to handle certain things. So the idea here is not necessarily to put underwriters out of work, but to put them to work on cases that where they actually need to get in and dig around and find stuff, but not spend time working with cases where we have information readily available. So the backside of this is the application management. All of the stuff that when their client is going through the process and they're entering information and they're putting their doctor's information, the system's running real time checkups right then and there. And it's ordering everything it needs to order so that we can get to that decision a lot quicker. Now, if we aren't able to make a decision and we need to have the client get us more information, i.e. an exam, they'll know that at the end of the process too, because we've gathered all the information and say, okay, here's where we are, this is what we need. All right? It's an improved customer expectation. They're going to know exactly what they need to do all along the way. And then we'll have underwriters that will be focused on just underwriting those cases that don't qualify. So if the client doesn't qualify for the process, there's still have the opportunity to go our old App Assist model, and we'll have an underwriter looking at those, and we'll do the interview, and you'll still not have to get too deeply involved. Or if you send in a paper application on a complex case, we want the underwriters focused on that, not on these simple cases. Eventually, the automated policy issue will be there, and delivery, and a place for the policy to store. That stuff is the stuff that's coming in the back end as we get through the front end and make this a smooth operational system. Let's take a quick recap and overview of where we're going. Easy to complete application. We're going to collect all the relevant information up front. Okay, so we're not doing it on the back end. We're going to obtain the requirements quickly. We've got vendors set up to get our documentation, the exams ordered, the APS is coming in. All of that's set up in a more real-time fashion. So we're supposed to get the information quicker. We're also going to have the system set up so that we're keeping you informed a lot better along the way, what the status is, where the case is, where we're going from here. And then all of that leads to reduced cycle time. If you can get cases issued and approved and placed in under 20 days or under 18 days, isn't that a benefit to you and your client? Because at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is protect American families and get them life insurance so that if something bad happens to them, their family's taken care of. And the best way to do that is as quickly as possible. And our idea is to drive that cycle time down so that we're providing insurance to clients that need it as quickly as possible. Small benefit of that is that you get paid and make revenue quicker as well. Just a small note there. So, what's our new journey look like? Currently, top line there is the drop ticket. You call in, you drop a ticket through the dashboard, or you call Michael and the team, they drop a ticket. Ticket comes into us. Our staff of interviewers in Maryland go through and do the interview for your client. They do the whole 42-page interview application, go through it all. They submit it, client voice signatures, and then we submit it to underwriting. With the new process, as long as your client is under 65 and requesting $2 million or under, they will have the opportunity to get an app link. So as you're going through and you're putting in the policy and the basic information, you're going to get to a point where you're going to see the link, or you won't actually see it, but the link will get sent to the client and they will be able to complete the application, and we won't have to have the telephone interview. Them completing the application allows them to do it on their own time. When we were preparing for all this before last 6 weeks happened, one of the things we were talking about was that clients would be able to sit at the little Johnny soccer game and complete their application in the first half of the game. And now what we're seeing is clients are completing their application while sitting on the couch watching Outlander. So it's still that simplicity to getting the application taken, but they don't have to schedule time to talk to somebody. Is that a big thing? Yes. People are busy. They want to do the application on their time. How many times do you find yourself doing stuff after hours, 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, or getting up early in the morning at 5 or 6 in the morning to get stuff done? Most interviewers aren't going to be available.
Yeah, and Jim, the reason we were very excited about this process is because as we track, a lot of the different drop ticket models from you guys and a lot of other carriers, one of the problems that you see, across the board is, and that slows things down, is getting people to do their phone interviews. And
right.
Not to bash on Banner, but you guys were a little bit tougher than others because y'all wanted to have all of your interviewers in-house instead of using outside vendors. Sometimes you guys
right.
would get busy or really behind and things like that. And so,
Correct.
Obviously we write a lot of business with you guys. And so having this where the clients can instead, they're going to get a link. They can do it on their phone. They can do it on their iPad. They can do it on their laptop or desktop, whatever they want. We think that that's going to be more convenient for them, like you said, whether it's 11 o'clock at night or whether it's over their lunch break at the office or whenever. It's not necessarily going to be that complicated. So we think that that will cause a reduction in cycle time. And some of you guys, I'm looking at who's on the phone. Some of you guys struggle with getting your people to do phone interviews. Maybe we'll have more success in getting them to, complete a link instead of having to be available right when somebody calls them.
Let me give you a scenario.
We're hopeful it'll increase that. Yeah.
Right. So last year I had an agent wrote a case on a stay-at-home father of 5, all under the age of 10. It was July. We couldn't get the interview completed because he had said he could do it during the day. Well, he's got 5 kids under the age of 10. He didn't have time during the day. And we had this process after he put the kids to bed or down for a nap, he could have sat down and walked through the process really quick and easy. So this will open up opportunities. And think about right now, how many of your clients are working from home, both spouses, and they've got these little kids running around? Michael, do you know anybody that's got little kids running around your house?
Yeah, right.
Come on.
Yeah.
So this is
another, Jim, another distinction that I think it's important that we make here is we're talking about the electronic part 2 or the electronic application versus app assist. We're not saying that up to 65 and $2 million is going to get accelerated underwriting. We're not saying that they're going to not need an exam. They absolutely still may need, blood, urine, physical measurements that happens, during an exam, we still may need APSs and things like that. In fact, over 1 million, we for sure will. They haven't changed their accelerated underwriting guidelines. This is just the electronic Part 2 guidelines. So if you have somebody that is 35 and wants 2.5 million, they're going to have to do a phone interview. If they're over 65 and want 250,000, they're going to have to do a phone interview. So this is just for who's going to be eligible for the electronic application portion.
Correct.
Also, from what I've seen, and correct me if I'm wrong, what we've seen both when we were doing it through the partner dashboard and what we've now seen through iPipeline, it's not optional. So if you have a 35-year-old and you want to do a phone interview, it's actually going to send them a link. And so if you need them to do a phone interview instead, you need to call us so that we can make sure that happens, because we haven't seen exactly in the process how to toggle off of that. I know that y'all will have a way.
So
we haven't.
That's one of the concessions I'll say that we made in order to push this system out early, was that we are cycling everybody who's under 65 requesting under 2 million to the application link. Now, having said that, once they get the application, there is a number, and I'll show you where that is here in a minute, where they can call in if they have questions or want to take the application, have somebody walk them through the application. They can do that. We think that, and I think when you see the application, most of these people aren't going to want to do that unless it falls outside of the parameters. It's also important to note, and this is kind of hidden down here on the lower left-hand corner, there are a few things that are not on the system yet. So if you're in Florida or New York, the application has not been approved in those states. Now, let me back up. The application has been approved in Florida. We just don't have it on the system yet, the technology work. It just got approved and hasn't been done. It's supposed to be up soon, is what I was told. New York is months away. If the process is set up so that you're doing other than insured is the owner, so key man, grandma and little Johnny, those cases aren't going to go through the app link. They will be the direct app assist model. Right now, there are no riders on the policies. So this is a straight policy. So if you're used to using our great laddering tool, that's going to be probably, I think they told me, end of May would be when that comes available. So we're building it. And again, I don't want to necessarily apologize for that, because we did get this out and it's a great tool, but it is kind of evolving as we go through time. And then TIAs are not available right now on the new app link as well. Okay, so this won't take all of your business, but it is going to get what I think is a majority of the business, especially what we're seeing written right now. So let's get into the process here.
And Jim, one other thing that I'm excited about is one of the issues that we had with App Assist before was that, the interviewers always did a really good job, but you guys get, the volume of applications you guys get industry wide is absolutely unbelievable. So those guys were really busy and they would get behind. When you're peeling off this significant portion of business, then we're going to see much, much better service level standards coming out of the App Assist call center. So I'm very
this will help improve service levels across the board, correct? Because this is going to take those, I hate to use the word self-serve, but those easier to use apps and take them out of the queue. So now that we're working on cases that you can keep the volume in. So let's kind of get into it and we'll kind of walk through it. Now, what you're going to see is the partner dashboard model. Michael will model the iPipeline version for you at the end here. But so if you get into our website and you go now to My Business and you enter your information and you sign in, you'll bring up your App Assist window. You'll then go over on the left and submit new ticket, just like you would if you were doing a regular App Assist process. It'll bring up a new dashboard there. And this is where you'll put in the customer information, name, age, gender, last four of social, email address, All of the things with the little blue marks beside them are mandatory. You can't go on without it. And these are things that we'll use to verify the identity at a later point. And then you'll submit, and it'll bring up the policy information that you're trying to apply for, the product, the amount, the underwriting class. It's really important. And I know from experience, as having been an agent, it's real easy to just gloss over the underwriting class. I'm going to tell you now, it's really important to make sure you get it as close to real life as possible. We know not everybody's Preferred Plus as much as I'd love to think they are, but if you're going to have to ask a few questions, because if they go instant decision, it can change the decision and it can look funny. And so you want to make sure you get that as close to the right level as possible. And you click submit, and now it'll go out and give you a question. It'll say, would you like your client to receive text message updates as opposed to, or in addition to email updates? I can't tell you what your client's going to want, but I can share some statistics with you. 97% of text messages get read. 60% of emails get read. So having this benefit here is huge, because now your client's going to get a text message and an email throughout the process. And they can choose to use whichever method is most convenient for them. Then you'll see this right. Now, when you get to this point, the link will be getting ready to go. You put in your information, you'll get one last review, and then you'll hit proceed to submit ticket. And you'll submit that ticket. Now, here are some things that we've picked up in our pilot program where it's good to inform the client what they may need to be looking for. They're going to need information on their parents, health information. Are they still alive? Have they had coronary artery, sickle cell, those things? Do you have other existing insurance except for group insurance? We ask that question. They're going to need to know that. Who do you want to be your primary Benny? Most of us in the industry think that's a pretty easy question. Clients may not always understand. And the number one question we received was, would you like to assign a contingent beneficiary? People didn't understand what we were asking. That was the one area where people would call in and ask questions. So these are little tidbits that you can help your client as they walk through the process. What's the process look like? Well, you've sent out the link. Client has received this email. If it's in a text message, they'll get the text string. They'll click on the text string, and it'll bring up the same basic letter. Thank you for choosing Legal & General for your insurance needs. Walk them through what they need to do. Now, we know that clients are great at seeing launch your application. They click the blue button. Try to encourage them to read the email, all right? Because they need to have the driver's license, your social security information, financial institution, existing policies, beneficiaries, health history. This is information they'll need to successfully complete the application, just like they would if they were doing the telephone interview. Then they'll click on launch your application, and it will bring up the welcome screen. Okay, so at the welcome screen, it says, you're interested in purchasing $250,000 of 25-year coverage, $71.56 a month. You put in your name. Dion Greyjoy is applying for life insurance. He lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We've verified that with the address from the application that you submitted and the last four digits and the email address. Start the application. We get into the terms and conditions. So this is part of the lengthy part of our current telephone interview is we have to read the terms and conditions verbatim to them by law. They can read it at their own pace, check the box, and click next. Then they get into the HIPAA. Again, we have to read all of this. They can scan and read what they need to read, click agree, and then they have the honesty statement that we are telling them we are relying completely on their honesty to give us the correct information and not to give us smoke and mirrors, basically. And then they click agree, and now we're getting into the application. Pay attention to the application, because what you're going to see is this is different than any other application you've seen out there. Why? It's designed to be done on a laptop, an iPad, or a mobile phone. Any of the three. And you'll see that the screen's really set up well for using on your iPhone. Okay? Driver's license issue. Do you have one? Yes. And it'll ask for your number. That's the question behind that. Are you a citizen? Yes. Where were you born? You notice that the questions are mainly yes, no, check boxes. Do you have any of the following occupations? Check the box, move on. Do they require you to do these things? Check a box. Are you planning to do any of these in the next 6 months? One of them is not, stay at home. You have a valid pilot's license. If you say no, it moves forward. If you say yes, it's going to kick out the application questionnaire. See, the system's smart enough to know that when you say yes, it needs more. You plan to travel outside the U.S. and Canada. You plan to change your country of residence. All yes, no questions. What's your income? Put that in there. Total household income. Do you have a spouse or life partner? Will any portion of the premiums you paid or borrowed in the last 5 years have you filed bankruptcy? A lot of yes, no, as you can tell. Tobacco question. Now, have you smoked tobacco or used any form of tobacco or nicotine product? And it does say vaping or electronic cigarettes in there. That's a new one, so keep that in mind. This is also a new question. Most states that are on the eastern seaboard and middle of the country have not currently, that I'm aware of, have not made cannabis legal. Mainly the West Coast, Colorado, Nevada, Maryland, believe it or not. This is a new question, okay? So if you know your client is partaking of cannabis in any form, it becomes a tobacco rate with us. And I know it's a negative right now, but it does, current situation, it becomes a tobacco rate. They have to check yes, okay? Under the app assist, the old app assist, we didn't ask about marijuana, we asked about smoking, and then we asked about illegal drugs. So it is a little bit of a change that you'll want to be, kind of prepare your client for, if you will. Do you have alcoholic beverage drinking? Only on Fridays. Have you ever been addicted? Yes, no. Again, advised by a physician. All of these good questions that the client would normally be asked in the interview are now being done fairly quickly, fairly simply in large print. Ever had a DUI? Past 5 years, driver's license suspended. You're convicted of charged with a felony. That's the part one of the application. Pretty quick, pretty painless. Yes, no questions. Not a lot of thought has to go into it. Then we get into health history. Now this one gets a little more detailed, as you might imagine. So we talk about some things that they're going to need to have on hand: doctor's information, health information, family medical. Again, yes, no. Have you ever been diagnosed for AIDS or immune system? How much do you weigh? Try to get them to put in their last weight they went to the doctor, not the driver's license weight. I know in some states we don't have to get driver's license for once every 10 years. Unfortunately, I know my weight has changed in the last 10 years. How tall am I? I did probably shrank a little. Have I lost more or gained more than 10 pounds in the last year? Who's your primary physician? It's important that we try to get this information because this can hold up the process. If we have this information, we can be doing the searches in the background. If you say, I don't have a primary physician, you go to the next screen, it'll ask you when your last physical was. If you say you put information in here, you had a blood test a year ago, but you don't have a physician, now we definitely got to go back. And that means we have to come back to you and the client to get that information. So try to get the doctor's information in here. We have the Google Help tied to this. So if they put in the doctor's name and the city, or maybe the zip code, it should search and try to find them so that you don't have to do a lot of, I don't remember the address and blah, blah, blah. I don't have a phone number. Google will help them with it, okay? So there are tools in here to help the client move through the process quicker than just going to their file cabinet and putting the information in. Then you can see if you put the doctor in, it will actually say, was this the last doctor you consulted if you had information? So it's kind of a test. Is this your doctor? Yes. Okay, good. We've got the right one. We can get information. Who's your health insurance provider? Have you ever applied for application and had it declined or postponed? Pretty basic information. This is where we get to the parents thing. Are your parents past 75? Do they have any of these conditions? They have any of these conditions. You have biological siblings. That doesn't mean Do you try to ignore them? That means you actually have them. And then any medical conditions. Most people are going to know if they've had one of these conditions. Now we get into some of these more trickier stuff. There's a little eye here. You can click on the eye and it expands that box and gives you all of the conditions under heart disease or cancer or neurological, or maybe you've had some intestinal or colon and it wasn't Crohn's, it wasn't, I don't know. You can click on the little eye there and it'll give you more information. Have you been to the hospital for suicidal thoughts? Have you consulted a licensed healthcare physician, including any of these things? So you see, we're asking the question. Some of it seems like it's a duplication, but we found that people respond to the answers differently. Okay? Again, back to the last 5 years, did you talk to a doctor about any of these? And there's the I there that you can go further and get more information. Again, we have the suicidal question there. Are you currently being evaluated? Have you been referred to a licensed healthcare in the last 6 months? And have you seen a licensed healthcare in the last 6 months? Again, the last 3 months have been diagnosed with any of these. That's the health information on your application. We're not talking a long-term conversation here. The client can literally do it while sitting on the couch watching Outlander. Now we're wrapping up the policy. Final details of other insurance, including this: what's the total amount on your life, who'll be making the premiums, designate a secondary addressee, and you guys know what that is, but your client might not. So there is a little button there, or they can always pick up the phone and call us. Who do you want to be your primary beneficiary? Would you like a contingent beneficiary? And I said this was the number one place where people called us and asked for help. They weren't sure what that meant. Need of life insurance. Review it. Make sure it's kind of like your TurboTax before you submit to the IRS. Is this what you want to say? Hit yes. If you've now been eligible, you'll get an instant decision. This is what the screen will look like. Congratulations, Miss Betty. You've been approved for a $100,000 a 10-year term, and it's going to cost you $7.68 a month. That's if it's been approved as applied for. Then they have the accept offer or decline offer. They decline it, you're going to get a message almost immediately. They accept it, and we walk them through the process to get the policy delivered to them. What happens, you may say, if my client doesn't get an auto decision? That's a great question. Congratulations, Miss Betty, you've approved for a $100,000 a 10-year term. However, your premium has changed from your original quote. And then it tells you why the premium changed. Now, if you can see my cursor here, high cholesterol and information from third-party sources. Again, accept the offer or decline the offer or contact your agent. Okay? If we get to this point and we don't make an instant decision, Ms. Nettie, thank you for your application. We need to schedule a brief medical exam based on the information that you put in your application. We'll get your results. You can schedule it now. And then it goes into where would you like the exam to take place. As you're well aware, or probably well aware, many examiners are not being able to get out and see clients, whether it's the client holding up the examiner from coming in or the examiner who says, I'm not going to somebody's house. We've made available the opportunity for the client to go to a facility if they so choose. If the client chooses not to go have the exam, they still have to set it up here. But once they go through it, if they say, I really don't want an exam, they have the ability, you have the ability to send us an email and say, due to COVID-19, my client doesn't want to go to an exam facility. Can we do other alternative methods? And we've sent out some temporary guidelines where we will use human API and EHR to try to offset the need for an exam, only if they've had some blood work done in the last 18 to 24 months. So that's kind of an important piece of it there. So if your client says, hey, I don't want to do the exam, let's look at the guidelines that we can do. Michael can help you with that, or the new business people at Legal and General Banner can help you as well. If they want the exam to come to their house, they can put their address in. Remember, that was the address we used earlier. Tells them where it is. Click next. Choose a time, date, click next, and the appointment is scheduled. It's that simple. At this point, If they don't want to do the exam, then we can reach out and say, hey, look, we got to do some other stuff here. Okay? Exam is scheduled. That then is the end of the application process. The client is already in process. And I did leave out one small part I forgot to tell you about. Probably should do that. When you get to here and you click submit, the next screen is a DocuSign screen. And the DocuSign screen has them sign their application, and that's where they actually sign and submit it. And then that's, at that point, once they've hit the submit, they would get one of these three screens. Okay? So then you can track through it on our dashboard, or the great staff at Morton Hammond will be tracking through it for you. One thing to note, one of the bigger things to note, is currently we're using policy numbers that start either 17 or 18. New policy numbers, and this is an indication for you, if it went to a ticket, a link, it now starts with 50000. So that's how you know it's going the direct digital processing if you get to this far. Because we still call it a ticket, but the status is application link sent, okay? Even though it's still considered an online application. The next process is that you can see the top one, the ticket was sent, it was an application, it was sent out to the client. And then the track the progress for requirements. Looks like on this particular case, we needed a pending physician statement. It was ordered already behind the scenes as the application went in. APS status tells us what's going on. All of this is something that you can track with the client, or for the client, I should say. You can see that we've left messages for this client. It's important to note that all throughout this process, we're going to be keeping in touch with the client. If they get the link and they don't complete it on day one, on day two, they get an email and or a text reminding them to complete it. On day 4, they get one, and then on day 7. After day 7, we don't reach out again for another 7 days. And then on day 15, we send them a kind of a final message. We include you in this one and say, look, no action was taken on this application. Do you want to proceed or not? Our hope is that somewhere in that 2-week period, if they haven't completed the application, they've reached out to you or they've reached out to us to get some answers. Because what we're finding is typically it's just a matter of a couple of questions. It's not really, I don't really want to do this, okay? We did a pilot last fall, first part of January, 1,500 clients. And these are some things that we learned. Very important statistics. 60% of the customers accessed the link that was sent to them. They didn't just pick up the phone and call. They went through the link. If your client gets the email and they feel like they're overwhelmed, it's important that at least they walk through the terms and conditions and the HIPAA releases, because that's a large part of the interview. And if we can get that done, we can walk through the next section fairly quick with them. You saw the application. It's pretty streamlined, pretty straightforward. We're finding that most clients are completing the application in under 3 days. Whereas I think that Michael will agree right now, when we drop a ticket and we have to schedule an interview, we're probably talking in the neighborhood of at least a week, maybe longer. So we're knocking off quite a bit of time right then and there. It's a friendly process. It's designed with the consumer in mind, not with the insurance company in mind. Modern enough that it's being done 34% of the time on a mobile phone. That's important. Think about how much work you do on your phone. How many of your clients are attached to their phone? Now they can do the application right there. Boom, boom, boom. Yes, no, drop ticket buttons, a couple typing spots. It's intuitive. The idea is that this whole process is to move our clients to a lab-free environment as much as possible. And it's timely. Less than 20 days is the average cycle time. That's impressive, because that means that if you write an app the 1st of May, your client's getting their coverage issued before the end of May, not middle of June. So that's an important distinction right there. This whole process is being done to make the process of buying life insurance easier for the client, simpler, and quicker. And at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to accomplish. We're simplifying life so that you can provide families. The process did start on April 13th with the partner dashboard, and it rolled out last Thursday with the iPipeline version. Okay, so that's kind of where we are. Michael, do you want to
and I'm going to
take over and kind of show the links?
I'm now going to take over. All right. Which screen do you see, Jim? Do you see my website or my email?
I see the website.
All right. Very good. That's the right place. Okay. So y'all are welcome to use the partner dashboard at lgamerica.com. It's very good. And if you guys are wanting to see status daily and things like that, then you can certainly jump in there. They've upgraded their website over the past few years, and it's very good and friendly in that it will allow you to see not only pending business, but also all of your in-force business. Also, if you have multiple banner codes, either multiple from us or from other GAs, you can actually add those multiple codes in and be able to view all of that in your partner dashboard, including pulling old copies of old policies or to see current status or forms or anything like that. So the partner dashboard is a great tool to use for any of you that want to. Most of you are going to utilize our website in order to access the applications because it's a common platform that you're used to using, and it's the one you've been using for submitting Banner App Assist in the past. Also, if we're submitting this on your behalf, we're probably going to be coming through our website as well. One of the things we like about it is it allows you to start an application, jump around to different pages, save it, things like that. All right, so there's two places that you can access it on our website. So the first one would be to go under Applications and Forms, and then go to Online Applications, and then into iGo eApp. So if you've done a quote, somebody called you back a few days later and said, yeah, I'll take it, then that's probably where you would access it. And then you would hit Start New Case and go into it that way. Another place you can access it is if you're talking to a client on the phone, you can access it in our term quote engine. So we're just going to run a quick quote here and do a sample case. So y'all can see this process. So we're just going to run a 20-year term for $500,000. And this is the quote engine that you guys are already using. And you'll see here the first, first regular term product is Banner. So you say, okay, we want to apply. So you can click into the apply button and say start your drop ticket. And then what that'll do is pre-populate certain pieces of information. So one of the things that this is not friendly towards is if you say here we said a 20-year term, but then they changed their mind in the middle of the application and said, make it a 30. This system doesn't allow that change. You'd have to change it with the carrier on the back end, which again is not that big of a deal. All right, so we'll jump from case information over to application. And as you can see, the only information here that we're collecting is address, phone number, date of birth, best time to call. So this is automatically, this is going to be required coming into this system. And an email is not a required field, but you're going to want to make sure that you do put that in. The owner is going to need to be the name of the
email is vitally important because if we don't have the email, we can't send the app link out.
Right. And what will happen as you go through the system is if it doesn't qualify for the electronic application, then it's just going to go right through in the normal App Assist channels. Here where it says, do you want to bypass the risk evaluation? Say yes. Put an underwriting class that you quoted. Say we're not replacing. No riders. No TIA. right, so that is a app assist. So from here, I just hit lock request and submit. So that's the information that you're collecting as well. If it qualifies for the electronic process, it's going to go electronically. If it doesn't, it's going to go through the phone process. Now, one of the things that we have seen is that sometimes it should qualify electronically, but it's still going through the app assist process. The way that you'll know that is because you're going to get an email that says that has a policy number, a reference number on it. If it's a 181 number, then that means it's going through regular app assist. If it's a 5000 number, then you know that it's the electronic application. So if it doesn't go through the right channel like you think it's supposed to, give us a call. We'll get it fixed. I mean, like they did roll this out 4 or 5 months early, so we think there are still a few bugs and a few things that are getting worked out on the back end. But just let us know if that happens, and we'll get it fixed. So hopefully you guys see how easy it is, particularly for producers, for you guys, creating good client expectations and staying on them. Through text messages and emails, hey, be sure you complete your app. That's going to be one of the big keys in order to making sure you're really successful with this, and that we have a high percentage of people that are completing their apps and going to the next level. And keep us posted. Let us know when things are working well. Let us know if things aren't working well. Banner is always very receptive to feedback, and may actually make improvements when we provide suggestions. So hopefully you guys enjoy the process. Hopefully it goes well. Hopefully it helps you submit more business, and please let us know how we can help and what cases you have to work on. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good day.
Thanks, Michael.